Hi everyone. So today's blog, I said we were going to talk about the cause of running injuries. I think the really important thing to sort of think about is if you're going to solve your injury, you need to know how it's happened. Okay. The first thing we talk about is external causes, what you were doing. Okay. In this particular sort of phase that we're in, it's very, very easy to do too much, to go and run long every day just to get your miles in, just to give you sanity. Think about a little bit of balance, a little bit of routine. For example, today I've just done a half an hour Pilates class, so I just did a 3 mile run. So I didn't sort of push it too much. Write down what you're doing. If you don't write it down, you're not going to be able to see what you're actually doing. So you know, a little bit of balance. Think about where you're running. Are you running on the same route all the time? If so, there's a little bit of camber on the road. It's going to just put a little bit of asymmetry through the body the same all the time. Vary your route. It's an ideal opportunity to try some of the trails, go off road, see what it's like. You know, everything's drying out now. It's not as muddy, so it's not as hard on the legs, and that's great. You know, core work, stability work. You can go over the styles, arms in the air, so you don't touch anything, and really sort of embrace that sort of change of pace, change of terrain, a little bit at the moment. So that's the first obvious cause for me. The second one is our trainers. Have they done too many miles? Have you changed into new trainers too quickly? I know there's lots and lots of hype about trainers at the moment. Lots of people try new ones. Transition gently. There's a massive difference in the forces absorbed through the body when you change into these new trainers as opposed to the old style trainers. A lot more cushioning, a lot more force being delivered through the body. The body's got to absorb it somewhere. So just transition gently. Don't suddenly do long races or lots of miles in them. And make sure your trainers haven't done too many miles. Have they still got the support and cushioning in them? So that there, for me, that's two of the main external causes that I see. And obviously the other cause is there's somewhere tight in the body. Do you stretch regularly? If you don't stretch regularly, you're not going to know whether one part of the body is tighter than the other. As I mentioned yesterday, one of the key areas at the moment, I would say, especially for those working from home, is the thoracic spine. I think this is a big driver of lots of running injuries. If your thorax is stiff, then as a centre of rotation, the rotation's got to come from somewhere else. And of course, when we want to run with our shoulders relaxed, and we want to have, you know, a little bit of movement in that thorax. We want to get that movement going. If we've not got that movement in the thorax, the movement tries to come from the lower back. Our lumbar spine isn't meant to rotate as much. The thorax has got a lot more rotation in each vertebra than the lumbar spine. The lumbar spine is very good for going forwards and backwards, but it doesn't really like rotation. And this is when we end up with all the little disky problems in the lumbar spine, a little bit of irritation of the disc, a tight hamstring, a tight calf, the nerves are a bit stuck and tight in the lower back, the joints are a bit stiff, your facet joints are a bit stiff. And this is when we then get those niggly pains and tightnesses going down into the leg. The tightnesses that you can't stretch out, they're quite often nervy tightnesses. So, you know, just get used to doing a little bit of rotation of your upper back. Just try, you know, a few easy yoga poses, downward dog, the cat stretch, just to sort of make sure that's a little bit looser. And, you know, you can try some rotation stretches of your lower back, just bringing one knee up and bending over and see what that's like. And of course, then we've got to look at individual muscles. If you've got a little bit of Achilles problem, what's your calf like? Is your calf tight? Very, very easy stretch, just to sort of measure 1 foot calf stretch against the wall to the other foot. Is it tighter? If it is, work on it. Get your foam roller into the calf. Is your ankle joint stiff? I've done another blog on ankle joint stiffness, so you can have a little look at that on YouTube if you want to. But is your foot tight? You know, think about all the joints above and below the area that's injured. Don't be afraid just to sort of take a joint through full range of motion and move it, compare it to the other side. Is it stiff and tight? And then, you know, you might need to just do a little bit of individual release through that joint. I'm going to go a little bit more onto that tomorrow. But really, I just want you to be aware. The main thing with injuries is very often the cause is somewhere else. It's very, very unlikely that the cause of an injury is where the injury is. So look outside that box, find out what's causing it. First of all, have you done too much? And secondly, what areas of the body are tight? Enjoy.